On the news, federal government threatens to impose state of emergency in Anambra State ahead of governorship polls. Senate passes revised MTEF, reduces 2022 budget size by 60 billion naira. And Senate to investigate e-call-up system at Apapa Port. It's great to have you join us on News Now. I'm Oyi Adekunle. Ahead of the November 6 governorship election in Anambra State, the federal government has threatened to declare a state of emergency if the security situation in the state does not improve. Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, announced this after the Federal Executive Council meeting chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday. The minister said that the government has the responsibility to sustain the democratic order and will do the needful in terms of ensuring that the election takes place.
As a government, we have a responsibility to provide security to lives and properties. So within the context of these constitutional obligations of the government and the desire to establish democratic norms and order, there is no possibility that is outruled. The government will certainly do the needful in terms of ensuring that our elections are held in Anambra, in terms of ensuring necessary security is provided, and in terms of ensuring protection is accorded to lives and properties. So what I'm saying in essence, no possibility is outruled by government in terms of ensuring the sanctity of our democratic order, in terms of ensuring that our elections in Anambra holds, and you cannot out all possibilities inclusive of the possibility of declaration of state of emergency where it is established in essence that there is failure on the part of the state government to ensure the sanctity of security of lives, properties, and democratic order. So our position as a government is if these elections are going to hold and necessary security in terms of democratic order must certainly prevail for the purpose of this election.
And the Senate has passed the revised version of the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework MTEF and Fiscal Strategy Paper FSP for the 2022 budget. In the revised MTEF for 2022 to 2024, President Muhammadu Buhari checked up the total expenditure of the federal government in the 2022 fiscal year to 16.45 trillion naira, explaining that the adjustments were important to reflect the new fiscal terms in the Petroleum Industry Act. However, the Senate approved 16.39 trillion naira, representing a reduction of 60 billion naira from the total expenditure proposed by the president.
Recommendation. The committee recommended as follows: that the aggregate expenditure of 16.39 trillion be approved. 2. That the return revenue of 10.3 trillion be approved. 3. That the fiscal deficit of 635.4 billion be approved.
Recommendation 1. That the aggregate expenditure of 16.39 trillion be approved. Those in favor of recommendation 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Recommendation 2, that the retained revenue of 10.3 trillion be approved. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Recommendation 3, that the fiscal deficit of 635.4 billion naira be approved. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Meanwhile, the Senate has also confirmed the appointment of 4 nominees as members of the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission. According to the chairman of the committee, Akman Basi, all nominees have been scrutinized and passed all security checks.
The Senate Committee on Petroleum Upstream, having screened and scrutinized the CVs and other accompanying documents of the nominees, recommend thus, Mr. President, that this Senate do approve the confirmation of Mr. Ibrahim Modibo, Engineer Benga Komolafe, Hassan Gambo, and Ms. Rosie Ndong for appointment as Chairman, Chief Executive Officer, and Executive Commissioners, respectively, of the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission.
The President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has cautioned members of the upper chamber to stop making comments that send wrong signals to the public. Lawan made the appeal after the Deputy President of the Senate, Ovie Omoagege, raised the point of order over a recent television interview granted by the Minority Leader of the Senate, Eyinaya Abaribe, bordering on the 3% profit sharing to host communities contained in the Petroleum Industry Act. In the said interview, Abaribe had alleged that the All Progressives Congress senators conspired to shortchange the host communities when the Senate passed the Petroleum Industry Bill, but during plenary on Wednesday, Omoagege and Lawan countered the claim.
There never was a time that I am aware of that the APC as a political party, the caucus of the APC as a political party, here in the Senate and or outside the Senate, met and took a decision that the host members, the people of the host community of Niger Delta, be shortchanged by reducing the host community host contribution from 5% to 3%. Mr. President, I have received several telephone calls since last night after this interview was aired. Mr. President, a decision was taken by the Senate. That bill has since been passed into law with a caveat that for those of us who are dissatisfied, an opportunity will be given to us as we move on to have this act amended. An amendment was brought recently, and we expect, Mr. President, that other amendments will be brought to cure some of these issues that we faced.
So I will encourage us to talk less to the press on ways that will give the press the wrong impression, and concentrate more on talking to our colleagues in the Senate when we want to sway the opinion of senators to support our position.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has distributed relief farm materials to 4,355 Lagos-based farmers who are victims of floods that ravaged their farms in 2020. The materials, including water pump, insecticides, rice and maize seedlings, bags of fertilizers, among others, were distributed to help the farmers mitigate losses incurred during the disaster. Our correspondent, Abisola Adebayo, has the details in this next report.
According to the National Bureau of Statistics, a total of 382,208 farmers suffered losses as a result of the extreme weather conditions and flooding that affected their harvest in 2020. To mitigate the losses, the federal government is distributing free farm assets and input to affected farmers across the country. At the flag-off of the distribution in Lagos, the Director General of State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, says the gesture will improve food production and also ensure food security in the country.
We are giving the farmers in Lagos as a form of intervention, as a form of food security, as a form of productions of good products. We are giving them a lot of facilities to ensure that they have good productions of agricultural produce.
What we expect from our farmers is to utilize these assets and productive inputs well, such that at least it can augment whatever it is they are doing in terms of production, particularly the rice farmers, maize farmers and cassava farmers, and hopefully we'll see improved production, we'll see improved availability, which should translate to reduced prices for our consumers in our markets.
Beneficiaries, while expressing their appreciation, say the farm input will go a long way in their recuperation process.
We thank God for the federal government that remember the farmers, because we demanded for a long time, very demanded about fertilizer and other inputs. But we thank God they come to a rescue this time around. No state to compare with Lagos, because they didn't leave the farmer behind. That's why I give them some big cheer for Lagos State.
On ways to avoid the recurrence of the disaster, NEMA's Lagos Territorial Coordinator announced that the agency is working towards integrating disaster risk reduction nationwide.
It's more economical to reduce these disasters than to react to disasters, because most of the disaster victims never recover from that. So it's always better. We are working towards integrating disaster risk reduction strategy in Lagos State. So some of those aspects of actions we have taken is what we have seen, and we are going out gradually.
To further ensure food security in the country, President Muhammadu Buhari has also directed the Ministry of Agriculture to facilitate the National Food Reserve Agency to address emergency food crisis in the country. Abisola Adebayo, TV360 News.
And as part of efforts to achieve universal health coverage, the Lagos State Health Management Agency has organized a media summit to raise awareness and promote the state's health drive, Ilera Eko, at the grassroots. The State Commissioner for Health, Akin Abayomi, explains that with health insurance, an enrollee has the opportunity to receive proper health care covered by the state's health insurance scheme. The General Manager of the Lagos State Health Management Agency, Manuela Zamba, also explains that the initiative offers subsidized healthcare management to residents.
It's very difficult for government to bear the complete responsibility of providing health care at reasonable price to 25 million people. You know, that would be an exorbitant number. So the private sector is there, you know, and then there's the public sector. But as government, it's our job to make sure that we create a standard, that we create a regulatory framework so that every medical cadre that's practicing in Lagos, whether it's conventional medicine, whether it's traditional medicine, is providing a standard of care that is internationally benchmarked.
A benefit package is what it says. It is a package that has a defined scope of services. So obviously you will not get everything, but you will get most things. Lagos State has gone out of its way to ensure that this package that we call the standard package is able to provide care for about 80% of the illnesses that people would come into a facility for. So as I said, once it is not within that package, definitely you would now need to pay out of pocket for it. Going into the field, we discovered that yes, there are people that even though we feel 85 is affordable, for some people it is not affordable. And so we've come up with what we call the Ilera Eko Pay Small Small, which is a very flexible payment plan. For 1,000 naira a month, you will be able to access care under the scheme.
We'll take a break here, but still to come, Ethiopian Prime Minister names opposition politicians in new cabinet. We bring you details of that and more after this break. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us on News Now. Here is a quick reminder of some of our top stories tonight. Ahead of the November 6 governorship election in Anambra State, the federal government has threatened to declare a state of emergency if the security situation in the state does not improve. Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, announced this on Wednesday after the Federal Executive Council meeting chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari. The minister said that government has the responsibility to sustain the democratic order and will do the needful in terms of ensuring that the election takes place. And we also told you that the Senate has passed a revised version of the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework (MTEF) and Fiscal Strategy Paper (FSP) for the 2022 budget. In the revised MTEF, President Buhari jacked up the total expenditure of the federal government in the 2022 fiscal year to 16.45 trillion naira. After working on the Buhari's request, the Senate Committee on Finance pegs the federal government's total expenditure at 16.39 trillion naira, reducing what the president proposed by 60 billion naira. In case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and CDC has reported 344 additional cases of COVID-19 in the country. The agency, in its update for October 5th, announced that the new cases were recorded in 18 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The FCT had the highest number of cases with 79 new infections, followed by Lagos and Rivers with 62 and 45 cases respectively, raising the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 206,623. 8 deaths were also recorded on Tuesday, leaving the total number of fatalities at 2,731. The Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Akin Abayomi, says the total number of COVID-19 tests conducted in Lagos State is now 759,841. Abayomi disclosed this while giving an update on the effects of the pandemic in the state, revealing that Lagos has so far recorded 76,928 cases, while adding that there are 136 positive cases at the Lagos isolation centers and 916 active cases in the community. The commissioner revealed that the total number of COVID-19 related deaths in Lagos stands at 649. I will take another break here and return with business news. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Now up next is business news with Abisola Adebayo. Over to you, Abisola.
Thank you very much, Oyin. Welcome to business news. Nigeria continues to lose an estimated $55 million daily as efforts to restore normalcy at the Apapa port and free up traffic congestion on Apapa Expressway has defied any solution. Concerned about the lingering issue, the Senate has raised a motion calling for urgent action and a probe of alleged irregularities in the newly introduced electronic call-up system of admitting trucks into the terminal. Our correspondent Folashade Ogunride tells us more.
The electronic call-up system was introduced by the Nigerian Ports Authority to curb the gridlock in and around the port's vicinity of Apapa. But rather than bring the desired solution, the system has been fraught with different allegations. The unending long queues of trucks on the Apapa Expressway and its environs are an indication of the faults in the e-call-up system. To this end, the Senators directed its Committee on Marine Transport to investigate the implementation of the e-call-up system and allegations of extortion by port officials and report back on the way forward. Leading the debate, Senator Oluremi Tinubu explained that owing to the high level of revenue Apapa Port rakes in for the federal government, urgent action needs to be taken to free up all roads leading in or out of the port.
Senate, however, is saddened that the recurring Apapa gridlock has become an embarrassment to our nation. Being the country's most valuable import and export gateway and a high-yielding revenue hub, Apapa ports reportedly rake in over 1 trillion annually into public treasury through various taxes, levies, and tariffs. The Senate also reminded that as a stakeholder in the success of Nigeria, we must ensure viable working systems and institutions that benefit the populace.
On his part, Senator Adiola Solomon, while commending the efforts of the Lagos State government, called for more decisive measures by the federal government.
It is high time we invite the Minister of Transportation and the Minister for State for Transportation to come and brief this Senate. What that has been done and what they are doing in this regard. I commend the government of Lagos State. I'm fully aware that the government of Lagos State have even moved office. They have set up a makeshift office in order to control the traffic and also to add value to the infrastructure on this particular route.
Meanwhile, Senator Nicholas Tofowomo also reiterated his call for a seaport in Ondo State so as to free up the Apapa ports and serve neighboring states.
I sponsored a bill here that there should be a functioning seaport in Ondo State. If that seaport is put in place, It will decongest Apapa port, where states like Ondo State, Ekiti State, Kogi State, Osun State, Edo State, they will be able to use the Araromi seaport in Ondo State, and automatically it will decongest Apapa seaport.
The Senate, in other resolutions, also mandated the Committee on Marine Transport, as well as those of the Works and Petroleum Downstream, to meet with the Nigerian Ports Authority and all other stakeholders to ensure resolution of pending conflicts. Folashade Ogrindi, TV360 News.
The organized labor in Nigeria says it remains committed to the fight for the dignity of all workers and the socially vulnerable country. President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Ayuba Waba, gave the assurance at an event in Abuja on the occasion of this year's Decent Work Day celebration. Waba maintained that increasing employment and ensuring decent work for all are essential aspects of sustainable development. On his part, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, explained that the promotion of decent work would further boost the nation's economy.
Rising insecurity and unemployment continue to constitute key risks to the Nigerian economy, as the investment climate is pressured and underpinned by heightened insecurity across the country. This is not unlinked with the increasing number of unemployed youth seeking means of fulfilling their aspirations in life. Decent work is needed now more than ever before to engender a harmonious and productive working environment.
We'll continue to say no to modern day slavery in working conditions, and we'll say no to sacking workers at will without respecting the laws. No to jobs that don't respect human dignity and also the dignity of humanhood. We have so many of those jobs today in our system, and comrades, we must rededicate ourselves as unions, as workers, to continue to canvass for some of those issues.
I do know that the revision of the labor laws has been on the table, and I think it will be very important that we expedite that process, we finalize that process, so that we are in a position to provide some clarity on issues of labor legislation, because this is important. We do not want to proceed, especially during this difficult time when there are questionable provisions that are still on the table and still being negotiated. I think it will be in the interest of everybody, particularly in the interest of the workers, to see that process concluded.
We take a break here and return with a review of the stock market. The bull maintained its grip on the Nigerian Exchange Group for the third consecutive session today, as the all-share index increased by 0.12% at the close of trading. The market recorded a gain of 21 billion naira when compared to previous session trading. Actually, Nigeria's stock market has made a dramatic rebound in the third quarter of 2021, and analysts have attributed the development to the rising upswing in the prices of crude oil in the international market. Analysts are even speculating now that the market would take a turn for the better, despite the negative sentiment that had pervaded for most part of the first half of the year. During the trading session, the volume of equities transacted by investors increased by 11%, with 400 million units of shares valued at over 3 billion naira exchanging hands in 5,145 deals. On the gainers counter, First Bank PLC and University Press led 17 others on the counter with a combined 11 naira 1 kobo. On the flip side, that was our losers list for today. Farm Deco and APC Transport led the counter with a combined 2 naira 99 kobo loss. On the foreign scene, that's our FTSE, Dow Jones and the Nikkei. They are all in the reds. London's FTSE fell on Wednesday, pressured by fears of higher inflation. As the fears of high inflation without strong economic growth gripped markets, the Dow Jones also recorded losses during trading. That's why it's in 0.61% decline. Shares in Japan were mostly lower on Wednesday also, with major indexes in Japan and South Korea leading losses regionally. That's all on Stock Market Review. Over to Owen for the rest of the news.
Thank you for that update, Bisalan. On the foreign scene, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has announced the new cabinet days after his inauguration for a second 5-year term following his party's landslide victory in June's controversial elections. 3 ministerial positions in the 22-member cabinet have gone to figures from opposition parties. Ahmed appointed the former head of war-hit Tigray region, interim administration Berhanu Nega, as defense minister. The heads of 2 small opposition parties were also nominated for government positions. The cabinet was approved on Wednesday by a majority vote in the lower house of parliament with 2 votes against and 12 abstentions. Well, up next is Entertainment Report on News Now.
Veteran Nollywood actress Joke Silva has debunked rumors currently making the rounds about the demise of her husband, actor Olu Jacobs. News of Jacobs' alleged demise began trending on Twitter on Tuesday evening, with fans asking for clarification from family and colleagues. It is, however, unclear how the news broke. The 79-year-old veteran star actor has been away from the spotlight for a few years now, with reports claiming he was battling an unnamed illness. However, actress Uche Jumbo recently shared a video of Jacobs at a movie set in Lagos. Squid Game may be Netflix's first Korean language blockbuster to get worldwide buzz and on to becoming the streamer's most watched show in history. The show creator, writer and director recently spoke about the challenges he encountered in funding the blockbuster drama and how it took 10 years to get a nod from Netflix. The 9-episode series has garnered quite the buzz since it premiered in September. And that is all that we have for you in the entertainment segment of News Now.
And in sports, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder threatened to inflict crushing knockouts as they made their grand arrivals for their heavyweight grudge fight in Las Vegas. British star Fury has vowed to produce another brutal victory after stopping Wilder in the 7th round of their rematch to claim the WC belt in February last year. But Wilder insists he will gain destructive revenge after plotting Fury's defeat with new head trainer Malik Scott. And that's the size of our bulletin this evening. We thank you for watching. I am Oyi Adekune.